Again, session 3 of doing business with the state of California. And my name is Christina Espiritu from PACE, Pacific Asian Consortium and Employment. And as I am just doing the housekeeping items, feel free to introduce yourselves on the chat, put down your name, your information, such as your business, the industry that you're in, and also the demographic location, so where you're located, so we can get to know you better. Just a couple housekeeping items, so make sure you are in listening mode. And then also, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it on the Q&A. Usually I'll have them on the chat, but then we miss it. So just make sure you put in the Q&A so we can get to your questions, and we will get to your questions as much as we can. We're gonna stop periodically during the presentation to look at the questions on the Q&A. And then, as I had mentioned also, we're going to have the webinar recordings after this. As I said, this is session 3, so we had sessions 1 and 2 the past 2 weeks, and those are also available in our e-library at our PACE website, which we will give to you in a little bit. All right, and just some information about PACE. So PACE stands for Pacific Asian Consortium and Employment, and we are a nonprofit organization that's been around for 50 years. So we actually celebrated our 50th anniversary last year. So we are on our 51st year. And so we are a 400 person nonprofit located in LA. And I am particularly part of the Business Development Center where we help business owners like you with different parts of their business operations. And then we also help in providing resources such as webinars like this, both in person and virtual. And then we also provide a lot of access to capital, such as loans and grants information. And then the good thing about PACE is that our services are complimentary and free of charge because we get grants from different levels of government, such as the city, the state, federal, and then county. And then one of the things I wanted to introduce you, for those of you who are not familiar, is a program that we have called Procure LA. So Procure LA is a special partnership that we have with the City of LA Mayor Karen Bass's office. And we are connecting small businesses with LA's big opportunities, unlocking contracting opportunities, especially in the sports and entertainment industry, and then events that are going to be happening in the next few years, such as FIFA, Super Bowl, and then also the big one, which are the Olympics. And so, please go to procurela.com if you are looking for assistance with any procurement opportunities. So we do anything from contract sourcing to helping you with capability statements, certifications, and then also working with you on the request for proposals, and then also access to capital. So if you do, we do have eligibility requirements for Procure LA. However, if you don't live in LA or not a brick and mortar, feel free to also still put your names on procurela.com because we do have other opportunities and programs where we can assist you. So with that said, I would love to turn over our presentation to Ms. Teresa from the California Department of General Services.
Hello, everyone. I am going to share my screen to start the presentation. Let me know if you are able to see, and I will put it on slide mode.
Yep, we can see it now.
All right. I think you can see my writing in there, right?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. Now you can see it.
There you go.
All right. I know lately I've had to do this, but anyways, we're going to be doing the I'm Certified Now What, which is a follow-up to the prior two presentations. And my name is Teresa Macias Ruiz. I'm a bilingual business outreach liaison with the Office of Small Business and DVBE Services with the California Department of General Services. My phone number and email are there. Please feel free to reach out via email. I just feel like I have, you can call me and leave a message. I still reach out to you, but we do travel, and it's easier for me to keep track of the emails than it is for a phone call. Okay. So I'll give the information. I'll show the information later on in the presentation. I need to slow down because I'm talking fast. All right, let's start with the overview. So last week we went through, getting certified, registered. The first one was going through the eligibility requirements. Now we're going to go into the profiles because we want you to have a very good profile so that you are searchable to buyers in the state. I'm going to go over keywords and UNSPSC codes, which is United Nations Standard Products and Services codes, which are super important in your profile because that's how the buyers are going to find you. So you want to have all the keywords and all the UNSPSC codes so they can actually find your company when they're looking for products or services that you sell. I'm also going to show you how to look for contract opportunities and some key things within the contracts. Not everything, because I can't go over everything. We're going to go over researching past purchases, which will help you when reaching out to SBDBBE advocates. I'm also going to talk about reciprocity partners, which are cities, counties, some universities that accept our certification. I will also go over the emergency contracting, which is separate from Cali Procure. And then the last thing we will touch on is the commercially useful function, which you must do whenever you are bidding on it and contracting on with the state. Okay. Let's start with the profiles. It is super important to keep your information up to date. Your business name, email, address, your keywords, and your UNSPSC codes. Because like I said, you want a contract, that's how they're going to be able to find you, right? So you want to have all that stuff up to date and have all the keywords and the UNSPSC codes for stuff that you sell currently. What are keywords and UNSPSC codes? Well, they describe a good or a service, right? It's what you sell. And it allows buyers to find your business when because they utilize those keywords or UNSPSC codes. I don't know if they'll use a keyword or a UNSPSC code. So you want to have everything in your profile to find your business when they're looking to fill a contract, right? It also, the system, Cali Procure, will send you systemic notifications using the UNSPSC codes. So you want to have everything if you want the system to send you notifications when something comes up for a code that you have in your profile, right? For something that you sell. And you can edit it at any time. So if you stop selling something, it's fine. You can always go in there and delete it. Or if you add something else, you can always go in there and add it. So the keywords, just like the UNSPSC codes, describe a good or a service, such as concrete, environmental, or legal. And buyers can find you by searching using keywords, right? And you know what you sell, so you're going to pick the keywords and what to use, okay? You can use synonyms, you can use individual words. We say not sentences, but if it's something that goes multi-words, like information technology, water filters, things like that, you can use common words, technical jargon. So you know what you sell. So make sure, think of Google and how people can find you. That's what you want to have in there, right? The different ways that people can find you through Google. Well, you want to add all those things into your profile. And then you can also copy keywords and UNSPSC codes from competitors. And we'll show you how to do that. Well, I can show you if you do a one-on-one, but I will show you how you can get the names of the competition for sure. All right, so the UNSPSCs are United Nations Standard Product and Service Code. It is an 8-digit number and it has a written description. And of course, it identifies a good or a service, not an industry like NAICS. Okay, so this is different. We do not utilize NAICS codes. And this is kind of an example of it. for paper products and materials and products. And if you see the level one is very broad, it can include things like toilet paper all the way to office paper, right? And then everything in between. Level two, if you see, it's by twos. So 14, then the next level would be 14, 11, and then level three would be 14, 11, 15. And then the last level, so if you notice, is the last zeros, that's the ones that are really describing. So the level three and the level four really describe um, more in detail what you are selling. If you look at level three, it says business use print and writing paper. Now level four, printer or copier paper. So it really has a more defined description. So that's what you want to use, maybe levels three and four, so that you get hits when they're looking for printer or copier paper. Okay. Um, let's go into, you have two profiles. If you didn't know, you have the bidder profile or the registration profile. So anybody in the United States and actually in the world, as long as they pay taxes to the U.S., can have a registration profile or bidder profile. But and it is that one is not publicly displayed. You will get systemic notifications, and we do have in there that you can have aspirational stuff if you're testing the market, right? That's only if you're testing the market and you want to see if there's if the state is buying what you're thinking of adding onto your company. Now, under the certification profile, you don't want to have any aspirational stuff, okay? You only want to have what you actually sell right now. It is publicly displayed. So the only thing that you would find in this public profile, in your public profile, is the information that you would have when you do a Google search, right? The name of your company, your address, phone number, that kind of stuff that you would want buyers to find, right? Any buyer, not only state buyers. Um, but it will have the keywords and the UNSPSC codes, and that's how you can look at anybody's profile to grab, keywords and UNSPSC codes. But it is used by buyers to find your business. And so I already talked about must be accurate to what your business currently does. So that's about the aspirational codes and keywords. Yeah, you really don't want to have any aspirational stuff, codes, keywords in your certification profile, only on the registration and only if you really are thinking of, adding something on to your business. All right. When selecting your codes, your UNSPSC codes, you're going to be able to do that in Cali Procure. You'll do it under the registration and the certification. Okay. Don't search under the UNSPSC. Don't use the website that's called unspsc.org because that has all the codes for everything that's sold everywhere. Our own UNSPSC site on DGS only has the stuff that the state buys. So use that one. And if you need it, we can always send it to you. So again, I already talked about the hierarchy. You want to find the level threes and fours because they really get more down to the nitty gritty of what you're selling, right? And you can use relevant codes of any level as long as you don't want to use the level one because it's very broad and you'll get, contracts for all kinds of stuff that you probably don't sell. And again, I already talked about copying the competitors' codes. Are there any questions up to this point?
Yes. So there is a question on the chat. Basically, what is the difference between the UNSPC codes and then the NAICS codes?
I haven't really looked into the NAICS codes, but I know that they're broader. They're in industry, describes an industry, not in actual specific item. That's all I know. I haven't really looked because we don't use them. So I haven't really had the need to look further into it.
Right. Okay. And then if you can repeat the website link again.
To,
This one, they so just it's Cal eProcure, correct? So
yeah, oh
Cal eProcure,
yes,
yes, yeah,
www.caleprocure.ca.gov. G-O-V.
great. And then there is a question here. It says, and maybe maybe you'll be going over this later. How do you update or make changes to certification ID profiles?
To the certification ID, as in
Yeah, so it says, yeah, it says how do you update or make changes to a certification ID profile like a DBA or a business website? So I guess in general, how do you make changes or
okay,
make updates?
it just depends what you're doing. So if you're changing anything legal, I would send you to anything that has to do with legal, like a DBA name. I would say go to certifications and ask the question. I mean, as
Mm.
to updating it, I know where you can do it, but I don't want to give you wrong information. I want you to ask the question to the right people, which is the certification folks. So it would be certification at dgs.ca.gov. Okay, so ask that question to them because if it's just changing your address or an email or that kind of stuff, I can show you where it is. But if you're changing something legal, anything like a DBA, that ask certification before you do any changes like that.
Got it. Okay. So it depends on what they're trying to update or make changes to.
Exactly. I just don't want you to get in trouble if you get audited and
Mm.
I don't know the answers. I don't want to give you any wrong information.
So there's a question here. I'm a little unclear. So it says, is there a way to determine how many like businesses are also registered? So I guess how many, if they're looking at other businesses, let's say if they're a supplier, how many suppliers are similar to them that are registered? Is there a way to determine that?
There is ways for you to determine certain things. I just don't know if there's a we can look and see if one of my slides has captured that, but I don't remember if
Mhm.
there is anything for service, but we can look. We can look.
Okay, great, great.
But there is
And
for
that's
you to look at a lot of information in our system.
okay, great. And those are the questions for now, it seems like.
Okay, sounds good. Let's keep it moving.
Thank you.
All right, so you were asking for the website, so here it is. We're gonna go into updating your Cali Procure profiles and www.caliprocure.ca.gov. So let's go on. The first thing you're gonna do, of course, is you're gonna log in, register, click there so that you can log into your profile, right? Then we are going to go first into the stuff under my account. If you look where the rectangle is, that's your registration or your bidder profile. That's the one that any company can have. Not every company can have the certification because you have to meet the qualification, right? The eligibility requirements. So let's go into manage notification profile because we are going to look into all these sections. So some people put in here is to look at the question. This is for SBDVBE self-contracting notifications. And it asks you, would you like to receive SBDVBE self-contracting listing notifications? Some people put no. Why would you want to cut yourself short, right? Just say yes. Even if you think you're a big prime right now, if you think you're a big prime, then maybe you don't qualify for us. But there's customers are earning already over $100 million. This is an average, not per year, right? And they're still considered small businesses. It's just for the SBPW, not for regular small business. So don't cut yourself short. Put yes in there. Then once you say yes, this stuff is gonna open up and you're gonna want to have your email address. Now, one big suggestion that I always provide when you're putting your email address, it's okay if you put you as the owner, but if you have employees and they're also looking at it and that employee leaves, if you're not in there, nobody's going to receive those notifications if that employee leaves and you don't have a backup, right? So always have a backup. I even suggest doing a generic email address that several people in the office can have access to. That way, you always make sure that someone is receiving those notifications, right? So I think that's something good to do if you don't already have it. Now, when you're selecting the service areas, please make sure that you look. If you want to serve the entire state, then you are going to click on where it says for services statewide, click here. You would click in that little box. Now, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but it's right here in this section. But if you don't want to work the whole state, then you click on Add New Service area, and then a pop-up is going to come up, and you're going to be able to add each of the counties that you would like to work. Okay, so make sure that you have everything that you want to work, that all the counties that you want to work in there, because you're going to receive anytime there's a contract within that county, you're going to receive notifications as long as it also follows the other, if it has your keywords or your UNSPSC codes or stuff like that. Okay. The next section is going to be adding your UNSPSC codes. This is super important, okay? You really want to have all the codes here. And let me tell you, if you've already worked your profile, if you already updated your profile, if you update something here, you also have to update it when we go into the certification profile, okay? If this is your first time going in here and you haven't brought over because there's a question whether you want to bring over all the codes into your certification profile once you're on that side. If you've done it once, we are under the belief that you can no longer do it again. So you would have to add both of the codes on both profiles, okay? But if you know the code, then you would use the rectangle that's above the red rectangle where it says UNSPSCs. If you don't know and you're using description, then you use that area where the red rectangle is. So if you're selling sawmills, then you type in their sawmills and then look for the code that will appear right below where it says search result. And I'm going to show you the next slide so you can see. So I actually use paper products, right? So paper, I put paper on the field, on the description field, and then my search result gave me 218. And I don't know if you can see it right here. If you can see my mouse on the top, right underneath search result, it has 218. There's a little arrow right here that you can utilize after you choose each of them. But if you choose those four, and then you click on Add Selected, those will be deducted from the total. So you would now have 214, but you can still keep going. So you can just click on them, click the arrow, choose the next ones, click the arrow until you choose. But if you want to do each page at a time, it's perfectly fine, okay? Once you click on the ones that apply to what you sell, to what your company sell, then you click on the select, and then now they're going to appear on the right side under my notifications, my notification UNSPSC selections. So that means that anytime there is a paper products contract, you're going to get it. Anytime there is writing a business use printing and writing paper, you're going to get it. Okay. So you want to have everything in there so that the system notifies you for any contracts that come up with those codes. Once you're done with all of them, so if you sell 2,000 things and you find 2,000 codes, great, you'll have 2,000 codes. It's going to take you a while, I'm not going to lie, but hopefully it's going to be your worthwhile because you're going to be able to capture, or get notified for any contracts that come up, with any of those UNSPSC codes. All right. Any questions so far?
Yes. So the first question is that, so let's say your business is a little bit of a niche. Is it more advantageous to use broader codes than more specific ones?
So what I've found when we have very customers that have very niche products or services is that we really don't have the codes for some of them. So in that case, you're probably going to have to use the broader ones, and that's where in you might not get the hits as easily as you might want systemic, right? But that's where the keywords are going to come in, and it's going to be very, very important that you actually put them and write them down under your certification side. In the registration side, you're not required to put any of those things, the keywords, just the UNSPSC codes. But after every change that you make, you have to click on save at the bottom, okay? But very important. What you're saying is, yep, you're probably going to go with the more generic code, the broader one.
Yeah, so I guess this is more of an addition to that. So would a level one code increase or decrease the number of notifications that they would receive for upcoming opportunities?
So if it's something really niche, there might not be a big need for it. I don't know, right? So you may not get a lot, period. So if you put a broader, I mean, it really doesn't mean that unless you're selling paper, then you would get, if you're using the paper products, that one you could get hit with a bunch more. But if it's something really niche and you're using a broader term, I don't know that you're gonna get a lot of stuff, a lot of hits. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And so here, they do services that are not listed with the industry code. Is there a way to add something that is not listed?
So if there is no code, you're gonna have to get to a code that's as close to what your service is as you can. But when you go into the certification side, that's when you're going to be able to use the keywords, and you're going to be able to describe it.
Got it. Okay. And then there is a question about business taxes. So, do you want me to hold off on it or do you want to
On what is it?
respond?
What is it?
So, about business taxes. So they have the 2024 business taxes. Can I just add that filing for now and apply, or do they need to wait for their 2025 tax filing?
Okay, so they haven't registered, they haven't certified yet. So that's what it's telling me, right?
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So there is a place in there, no guards available yet. So if the system requires you to have them and you don't have them yet, it may put your application on pending for review, but you'll be able to submit them, right? I mean, it's by next month, most of us have to do them, otherwise we pay too much money for them. So in interest. So there is a way for you to work it out. Okay. So don't let that worry you.
Any questions, you do have advocates. We will have information for them later
Yes.
on that they need to
Yes, we
ask.
do.
Yeah, and there is also here, and yes, sir, there's a question here. What if I don't sell stuff but provide services? How do we search the industry codes then? So this is what you're going.
It's the same thing. It's
Yes.
you've seen the codes. If we buy the services, then it should be in there, unless it's something super niche.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's the same way.
Okay. Yep.
It doesn't matter if it's a product or a service. There is codes for both. It's just whether you can find it because, like I said, if it's something very niche, there might not be a code.
Yes. Okay. And let me see. If I work federal as well, can I do a capable? So this one, I think we can, yeah, we can proceed for now. There was a question here, I need to clarify, but
Okay.
yes, I think
Okay.
we answered most of them.
Okay. Let's continue then. Thank you.
Okay, yes.
All right, so we are going into the manage certification profile now. So after you made your updates, you always go to the bottom, click on save, okay? Because if you don't hit that save button, your work is not going to be saved. So always, 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 always save. All right. So to do the update your profile on the certification side, there's two ways that you can do it. Either of the red rectangles work, it will get you to the same place. So just click on one. Then this is going to come up. It's going to be on the right side. You're going to click on amend application. Yes, you're going to amend your application, but only the other tab, in which I will go over. All right. So I know that when you see this and I tell you, you want to get to the other tab, you're going to go click, 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 click on that thing. And guess what? It's not going to do anything. So you're going to have to go down here, scroll down, save and continue 5 times until you get there. Okay. So you're going to go, I'm going to go back. You're going to go registration, save and continue, business, save and continue, owners, affiliates, taxes. And then when the tax part comes, it's going to ask you, are you sure about your guards? You shouldn't have made any changes there because that stuff should have been done already, unless you're still in the middle of the certification. Okay. So the other stuff shouldn't be touched, just this, right? This service areas. Remember how I told you whatever you want to have on this side. Remember I told you about the UNSPSC codes, I think. That's what I told you. Yes, I told you about the UNSPSC codes and transferring them over to this side, to the certification side. Also ask about the same question is going to be asked about the service areas. It says, do you want to transfer the service areas from your bidder registration? If you haven't done it, you can just, and you added, 10 counties, it's faster if you say yes, right? Because it will transfer over all the counties that you want to work in, unless you put in there any aspirational ones, which, like I said, unless you're trying to see if you want to expand to that area, right, to that county, don't add it in the registration side. Or sorry, don't add it on this side. But if you bring it over, it's as easy as Xing it out, okay? So you click on yes. Otherwise, you're going to click on this area down here, the white rectangle that says add service area. And then a pop-up is going to come up. You're going to search for the county and then keep going, add, click on it, and then until you add all the ones that you want, okay? All the counties that you want to work in. Remember how I said on the right, we have the keywords, which you didn't have under the registration side. This is really important to have everything in here. This is just a sample, so I know that some of this stuff doesn't even make sense. Lights, light bulbs, paint, livestock, photography. Yeah, that's random. It's just stuff that we think of when we're working with different businesses, right? So what you're going to do, and we are working on a new way of putting in keywords, but I'm not going to confuse you with that stuff. Right now, what I want you to do is if you're adding, you will put in light bulb and then click on plus, lamps, keep clicking on the plus and typing in the keywords that you want to add, okay? If you want to know about that way that we're doing the keywords, adding them, you can always make a one-on-one appointment and we can help you with that, okay? After you add all of the keywords and UNSPSC codes, keywords, the next section, guess what? It's going to be the UNSPSC codes. Remember how I told you that it was going to ask you, do you want to transfer the UNSPSC codes from your bidder registration? This is, I believe, this is what they tell us, that you can only say yes once. Otherwise, after that, you'll have to add them on the registration side and then come here and add them onto the certification side. But if the system doesn't allow you when you click yes, it doesn't do them, it doesn't show up on this bottom part, then you know it's not working. Then you just click on the add UNSPSC classification. So when you do that, a pop-up is going to come up just like that. You're going to use the description part, unless you already know the code, then you put it under the top one, right? You put the code in there. Put paper, look up, this stuff is going to come up under. You click on the ones just like you did on the registration side, and then you click on save. And then that stuff gets, see, you click on save on the bottom, and then it will get added onto your profile. Okay? You're going to do this until you get all of the UNSPSC codes that you need to have that describe all the products and services that you need, that you sell. Okay? So you want to have all this stuff. I know it's a lot of work, but you have to do the work also when you create it. If you have a website, you have to, add all those things into your website. So put the work in here so that you can hopefully get more hits, as in, contract notifications, and also when buyers are looking to buy your products or services, then you come up when they're searching for them. Okay, that's all it is. You're really adding this because you want to be searchable. Okay, you want the system to find you, and you want the buyers to find you when they're looking themselves. Okay, all right. In this part of the system, we talk about it. We do have the supplier diversity information, which you can always add. But in 2022, the Department of General Services began collecting voluntary this diversity data information from certified businesses. All right, that are currently registered or new. They are going to register in Cali Procure, and it is completely voluntary. You can give it to us if you want to. You can delete it if you don't want to have it in there anymore. But we are actually trying to collect this data to you know to help us do a more targeted outreach efforts, right? So we can reach all the communities, or many of the communities in California, so that we can, support everybody who needs it, right? It also helps us to evaluate the effectiveness of our outreach. So it's super simple. The way you do it is under my account. So that's under my registration, right? You click on Manage Diversity Information. Then you fill out the little boxes that apply to how the way you feel, your ethnicity, your race, your gender identity. On the bottom is this part also. If you continue going below, there's going to be, I don't know if I took a shot. No, I didn't. Below that, there's also a place for you to fill out if you do have any other certifications, which, believe me, it doesn't grant you any type of contracting preference. But sometimes primes are looking for women-owned businesses or minority-owned businesses, and they can look you up. They can download the data and filter by whatever certifications they're looking for. So it could be an advantage to you, right? If you do have them. If you don't, it's fine. You don't have to fill it out. You just save and then continue. Okay. Any questions up to this point?
Yeah, there are some questions, but I think let me see. There's a question about capability statements. So if they're working with federal as well as state, do you recommend putting both codes, the NAICS codes and then the United Nations codes?
So,
And
so, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
oh no, go for it. Go for it.
So my suggestion is, so you know how when you're trying to get hired, and this is if you don't own your company and you're like me, who is a normal employee and is looking sometimes for work, and you have to cater you have to make your resume, which is the capability statement, is the resume of your business, right? Just like a resume is for my work experience. So, and you have to kind of make it so it sounds like you've done some of the work that they're looking for, right? In a job. So the same thing. So if you want to have two separate, capability statements, one where you're only updating the capabilities and to the NAICS or vice versa. You can have one for the federal government and one for the state government. I mean, it just, you can make them um, so that it's more effective to who you're targeting, right? Make sense?
Yes, yep. And there is a question here on, let me see. So they're having an issue with the certification documentation. They're asking for parent documentation for ethnicity, and it's becoming an issue procuring. So they have a meeting today with a Cal e-Procure rep. But are there any other options?
Wait. Let me stop you right there. We do not ask for that information, so there's no way that they can have that sounds like federal.
Ah, okay. There you go.
Right? Because we only have the small business for the purpose of public works, and the disabled veteran business enterprise. So we don't do anything. We don't check anything with those kind of a documentation. That's
Mhm.
yeah, that's for like ethnic kind of thing, minority, and I don't know, women owned, that kind of stuff. That's federal. That's not us.
Okay, good point. Yes. Okay. And then this one would be probably a question. This one would probably need a one-on-one. It's basically a niche service like image consulting. So if they do need help with their, with picking keywords or codes, then you would probably suggest just going and doing a one-on-one consult,
Ye-
one-on-one, right? Yes.
yes. Just do it, and we can try. I mean, like I said, sometimes there is not a specific code for that kind of stuff, but
Mm-hmm.
there may be.
Got
There
it.
may be. Who knows? I haven't looked for something like that. So yeah,
Yeah, and then there's also questions about amending. I think amending certain information.
yeah,
And and as you had mentioned before, it depends on the information that they're trying to amend.
yes.
Right? Yep.
Yeah, so they can make an appointment or they can call
Hmm.
certification and see if it's something, well, they can either call or, but they can just send them an email. I think it's always better just to have it because then you have it in writing. But call them and then find out if it's something that they would be able to answer. Otherwise, you can make an appointment with one of us and we can try to help you.
Right. Yes, and we'll provide that information later on because there's also a question about your email, which we can provide later on, and some other logistical questions which we will address later on. So
Hmm.
I think that's it for now, so we can continue.
Okay, sounds good. All right. So now we're going to talk about, I know this is something that interests you a lot, finding contract opportunities, right? And that is in the California State Contract Register, which we call CSCR because everything is so long. But this is in contracts that are public competitive in Cali Procure. And you can actually also post advertisements if you are interested in becoming a sub or a prime looking for a sub, that kind of stuff. And I'll show you it in a little bit. But if you do want to post an ad, then you need to log in, register. That's the reason why we ask you to do it, because if you are not, and you'll see how it looks, if you're not registered, you're not able to post the ad. Okay, so just log in, and then we can begin the search. It will look something like this. This is what your work center is going to look like once you have the certification and you're in the system. And then you can simply click on Start Search. And that will what will come up is this. Um, it will You won't have a lot of fields. So you gotta click on advanced search criteria. So it actually opens it up so you can actually enter an item description, a UNSPSC code, the counties. If you have a license, contractor's license, you can enter that. So you can search by any of these stuff. Normally, we tell you don't use the UNSPSC codes and the item description at the same time. So either one or the other, but you can use the other two in conjunction in together with the UNSPSC code or with the item description, because that way you'll have the areas where you want to work in. But if you want to open it up and see what's out there in the state, you don't have to add a service area. If you don't add a service area, it will bring everything up that the state is currently contracting for. Okay. So if you do that, also, if you just click on when you did the click on Start Search, you'll see right now there is over 500 contracts in the state that the state is trying to fulfill. Okay. Um, you'll see this, but everything and anything that they're contracting for, that they have a contract for, is going to be listed. So that's why you want to use the fields, right, to narrow the search by what you are trying to sell to the state. That's what you want, or see if there's anything for you. So if you were to click on any of them, which is what I did, this is something that on a previous presentation somebody brought up. Is she's a state employee and she does buying, so it's a good thing that she was there because she pointed out normally we tell you about, look in the middle, the first highlighted part, the event end date. That's an event is contract. Okay, that's, they call it event for whatever reason. This contract, the end date is the date by which your bid has to be in there. But you see it's July, but look at the conference. I know it doesn't say on the right, it says pre-bid conference. This one says non-mandatory. But why would you not want to be at that conference, right? You want to know about this contract, you need to be at that conference. Be there. I think if somebody shows up in there and I'm looking and I'm the buyer, this person didn't even come up. This business. This business didn't even come here to the conference. Are they really interested, right? You really want to be there because you want to know all the details and you want to be prepared. Or if it's a big event and there's a prime in there, well, you can be a sub and you can let them know, look, I'm interested in being a sub for the contract. I have the certification. You'll get my, if if there is a percentage that has to be in the contract that has to be awarded to a certified small business or a DBBE, well, that business gets, that prime will get your benefits as a certified business. So you can introduce, this could be a networking thing. So, but it is very important because within and this one is nice because you can see a lot of the dates in here. Sometimes you have to actually click on the event, view event package, which is basically view the contract package that has everything and anything that you need to know about the contract. So this one is nice. I lucked out in having this one because it actually has the different dates. So the pre-bid conference, right? That's the first date, March 19th, which is coming up next week. It says pre-proposal meeting, right? In the center, in the middle, right? It says, I highlighted that because I know it says optional, but I'm telling you, you should be there even though it's a non-mandatory conference, because you want to know everything that goes down on that day, right? Another date that I highlighted, letter of intent to bid, questions and answers, letters of intent to bid and questions regarding the RFP shall be submitted in writing and received no later than 5 p.m. on April 16. So you see how it is very important. If you do not do that, I know it says event date July, you're not going to be able to bid on the contract. So you really want to have everything in there. Okay, you want to look at all the dates. You want to make sure that the contract administrator, which is, if you see, it's contract information. Jacob is the contract administrator for this contract, and he any questions, anything like that, that's the person that you're going to be communicating with. So it's really important. All right, another thing on the top, on the right hand top, you see all the two navy blue rectangles in there, view event package. The next one is view vendor ads. you cannot see the post vendor ad because when I clicked on this, I wasn't logged into any test account. So therefore, you're not able to see the post vendor ad. So if you were interested in posting a vendor ad in here and you're not logged in, you're not going to be able to do it. That's why I told you to log in. Okay. But I gave you a lot of good information in here that you really need to pay close attention to because if you don't meet those dates, you're not going to be able to bid on the contract. Okay. Next one. Let me show you why. Okay, so this one is a mandatory conference. It is an old one, but like I said, doesn't matter whether they're a mandatory conference or not. I think you should be there, period, because you want to know everything. If you're really interested in the contract or in meeting prospective primes, then you want to be there, right? Whether it's mandatory or not. See, this one doesn't have, if you look at the description, you don't see any other dates or anything. It's probably going to be under the event package. That's why I'm showing the two because the other one showed a lot of good information. This one doesn't have it in there. So you want to really click on it on the package if you don't see other information. You still want to click on the package, even on the other one, because you want to see whether there's other things that you must submit before that, right? So you want to be prepared. That's what I'm saying. So if you were clicking on post, I think this one I did view vendor ad, okay? But if you see, this is what an ad looks like. This is a sub seeking a prime, and they put their information. And if you notice, he put his name, and then dash, and then 2024977. That's his certification number. I would also put it under description, certified small business, although they do have a state of California certified small business. Okay. And then they have I would put your 30-second elevator speech in there, right? The certified business, the name of your company, and just a brief description of what you do and the type of services that you can provide. And then you can even put in there when you want to hear by, the date. It's the first line it says response deadline. That's when you want to hear back from whoever is interested in that. Good information, correct? All right. We can go on and see if there's any questions right now.
Yeah, there is one question. Can you search for an event by keyword?
Yes, yes. You can search by keywords. You can search by UNSPSC codes. You can search by that's what I did on when I showed you the thing. If you want to see specific things for what you sell, then you search by the keyword. If we are looking to fulfill a contract for that particular keyword, it will come up, right? Or sometimes certain keywords are kind of things that you would find in a lot of contracts. So like I don't know, training or management or different things. You might find that there are other contracts, but it doesn't apply to what you sell. So when you search by them, just read through the little description that it has. It will have a description on. Let me see if I can. I'm gonna have to go back a little bit. Right there, the event name. Sometimes it has a little bit. If you look in the middle, so this one says non-credit student information system. So you know it's probably going to be something related to IT, right? Now the second one, Axon body for cameras, accessories, and warranties. So you would have to click on it. But if you sell anything related to body cameras or stuff like that, then you know this is for you. That's what I meant by looking and reading a little bit of the description to see if it applies to what you sell.
Okay, so this one you may need to show again. It says there is nothing that says keyword on the search function
Um,
for contract. Do you add that in the description?
Yeah, it doesn't say the keywords. It says item description. That is, you are
Great.
absolutely correct.
There you go. Okay. And I think that's it for now, so we can
Um,
proceed.
sorry, I'm going back super fast through the through the slides because I went back and then I forward. So, I apologize for that if you're a little sensitive to movement. Um, okay, so the next part is research past purchases. Okay, this is important because you're going to find a bunch of information that may benefit you, right? You're going to do this in Skippers, which is the state contract and procurement registration system. Um, so what is Skippers? Is a database of all state purchasing, and um, contract administrators actually input the data into the system. Okay, it includes state and non-state dollars because non-state could be federal, like for Caltrans, right? Because they get federal money. It is public facing, and you use it to conduct market research. And the quickest way to get into Skippers is by using quick links. So you click on quick links and then click on find past purchases. There is other way, which is this way, to get there by clicking on find public procurement information and then clicking on the second bullet right there, which is Skippers, and then it gets you here. So in here, you already have results by me punching in or typing in construction. I just thought about that because I know there's going to be a lot of hits. So important things in here when you're doing market research. Who's buying what you sell? That's the first column, department name, right? So we know the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitations is buying. So that's the jails, the prisons, whatever you want to call them. They're buying a lot of construction stuff. Department of Motor Vehicles, Department of Forestry, Forestry and Fire Protection, and of course Caltrans. And I didn't go down, of course, but you see where I'm going, right? This is your prospective buyers, right? These are your prospective customers. That's why we want you to do this, because we want you to know who in the state is buying what you sell. The second column is the purchase document. So if you click on it, you're only going to see whatever the administrator decided to upload. If you want the whole contract, you can request that by asking for a public records request to the department that made the purchase. Okay. The third column is usually empty. The fourth one is going to have a short description of what the contract is. You have to scan through those and see which ones apply to what you sell, right? Which ones kind of relate to your business. And those are the ones that you want to continue looking to the right, where you're going to see the start and end date. Like the first one, you could see was a 3-year project for $75,000. If you continue going to the right, which I'm going to close it up. Close it up. I'm going to do a close up. You can see who the supplier is, right? And this is, it will tell you for example, the first one, Interstate Civil, probably Construction Inc. But they are certified as small business. It says Public Works, SB option competitive. So the SB options are contracts that are, so that looks like it might have been a Public Works kind of thing. Oh, it does say Public Works. So those are from 5,001 penny up to, I think it's 343,000 for Public Works. I always forget the end amount of it. But for regular small business is 5,001 penny up to 250,000 minus penny. So those are contracts that the buyers, they're not gonna be found in Cali Procure for the most part unless they weren't able to find businesses that supply whatever they're looking for. Okay, then they can attempt it again, and then they can post it on Cali Procure, becoming a competitive bid. They're kind of competitive in the sense that the buyers have to get 2 bids from either 2 SBs or 2 DVBEs, or 2 SBs and 2 DVBEs, so they can get 4. It doesn't matter, but they have to get at least 2 from each, right? Or 2 of each. So they can't get 1 SB and 1 DVB. So they want the competitions to be with 2 SBs or 2 DVBs and like that. Anyways, but these are contracts that the buyers are going to look for you in Cali Procure, either using a keywords or UNSPSC codes. So that's why it's important to have a really good profile. But all this information is good because one, you know who in the state, which department is buying what you sell. Two, you know what they're paying for the type of service or product that you sell. And three, you can know who in your competition is and who's getting the contracts, and you can look at their public profile and maybe borrow some keywords or UNSPSC codes that apply to your business, but you don't have, right? So there's good things that you can get from here. So going into that one, unless there's any contracts, I'm going to go into the advocates, which is why we do the market research too, right? Is there any questions?
No, I think we have no questions for now.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Thank you.
thank you. After doing the research, now you know which State Departments buy, right? So we go and tell you to approach the advocates, send them an email. They're state employees and they work in the purchasing or procurement area. They have different titles, which I really don't care, but that means that they can be doing several things, but don't we all, right? The important thing is that every department in the state that spends at least $100,000 has to have at least one advocate. Caltrans has a bunch because there's 12 districts. So some of their roles and responsibilities is to help certified businesses to contract with their department. Also to assist you with prompt payment if you have any issues getting paid. Also, they help the buyers to use certified businesses. So that's why when you send them an email and you attach your capability statement and a buyer says, hey, I'm looking for somebody who can pour concrete on, the DMB, whatever, then, oh yeah, a certified business that pours concrete, just, email me like 2 months ago. I have their info. Here you go. That's how it's going to help you, right? And they're supposed to also seek out new certified businesses. So not just keep giving the business to the same business. It's part of state law. So when you contact an advocate, you want to give them of course, your contact information, the name of your company, your certification number, a brief description of what you do, and attach your capability statement. Can you call them? Yes, you can call them. But if you call them, you can attach the capability statement, right? So you want to send them an email. That way you can attach the capability statement. And a lot of them do keep a spreadsheet with the information from small businesses that they hear from, and whenever one of their buyers comes up and asks, then they have information that they can give to them. So it's good. Now, this is just a simple, if you don't know what a capability statement is, I believe, Christina, you guys help, right? With capability
Yes.
statements?
Yes,
So
absolutely. Yep.
yeah. So you can always, Google it and you can start on something, and I'm sure people at Pace can help you make it prettier and more, cater it to where you want to do business, right? Like I was saying before, are you working towards the state, the county, the city, whatever? That's the kind of stuff that you want to have, whatever it is that they require you to have, that's what you want to have in those capability statements. But they can help you with that kind of stuff. This is just a sample that we pulled, and so you can see it's just a resume of your business. When you contact an advocate, ask them, what do you have the upcoming contract opportunities that may be a fit for me, or current opportunities, right? And then please include me in your, relevant solicitations. Let buyers know about my business. I want to do business with the state. I'm ready, right? And then you can always ask them to for a list of commonly purchased goods and services in their department, but you can also look it up. Okay, there is ways for you to look it up, and we can show you how to do that if you do a one-on-one. But if you want to do that, conversation, yep, you can ask them for that list. All right, how do you find the advocates? Well, you're going to go into Find Training and Resources. You're going to click, you're going to scroll down until you get to the part that says Research and Marketing, and then click on Contact a Small Business and DBB Advocate. And then it's going to take you to this web page. And then you're going to click here to where it says click here to view the advocate directory. Once you get there, oh, I think I don't have that page. It won't look like this right away. It's going to have a, a a page, and it's gonna, on the lower left hand is gonna be a little rectangle that says advocate directory. Okay, so you click there and it will get you here. So when you get here, you want to click on, you know where my red arrow is pointing? That arrow normally points down. When you click on it, it starts pointing up and the search field comes up. So what I suggest that you do is, if the name of it is, what was it? Something, let's just say Caltrans. It's not Caltrans. That's, if you put Caltrans, you're not going to find it. It's not going to come up. It's going to be the California Transportation, right? Department of Transportation. So you can put transportation. And if you type in there transportation, then you can click on the one that applies. See, even with transportation, 3 departments came up. But you know it's the third one, Department of Transportation. The other one is California, the Transportation Commission, and so on. But you want the third one, right? You want Caltrans, then you click on that one. And then all the advocates for all the 12 districts, they come up. And if you look, some of the districts, like District 11, which is in the San Diego and Imperial counties, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 advocates just for that alone. So if you keep scrolling to the right, you'll see the rest of the information, which is the advocate name, the address of their office, their phone number, their email, if they have it, okay, in there, their website, and that kind of stuff. So this is the people that you are going to be sending the email and letting them know about your company. So that if something comes up, that if they're looking for a contract to fulfill a contract, and it happens to be within what you sell, then they can let the buyers know, hey, this small company, this certified business, they are selling what you're looking for. And guess what? All the departments, if you weren't here on the last 2 webinars, we have a 25% goal of all state contract dollars to be awarded, 25% of that, right? 25% of all state contract dollars to be awarded to certified small businesses, and 3% to DVBEs. So all the advocates, all the buyers, all the departments, they want to reach that goal. They don't want to have to go through the trainings because they didn't reach them. They don't want to be scolded, So they all want to get there. They want to meet and surpass the goals. Okay. Are there any questions at this time?
Yeah, so there's a question about can you show them where to upload the capability statement again?
You can't upload it into CaliProcure. You would have to attach it to the email that you send to the advocate.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then how do you get to the fiscal skippers database? Is there a link that you can share?
To skippers, it's through
Mm-hmm.
CaliProcure.
Okay.
Yeah, through CaliProcure. You click on quick links, and it's the 4th option, find past purchases, and it will get you there.
Okay. And so I think that rounds out our question, except yeah, just more logistical question about your information, your contact information
Yeah.
later on. Yep.
Mm-hmm. That will come up at the end. I'm just trying to look because we got, yeah. All right. Reciprocity partners. Okay, we have partners that accept our certification. Okay, you still have to register with them, but would you let them know that you have the DGS certification number, and you give them the number, they look you up on our system, and it just makes it easier for you to get accepted into theirs. Okay, but there's cities, counties, utilities, transportation agencies, and school districts that accept it. So how do you get there? You again go into find training and resources, and then you scroll down to resources to grow your business. And then you click there, leverage your state certifications for local contract opportunities. And then it will get you to another page. And it has, I didn't have the printout, but once you click there, it will give you a page with the reciprocity partners and the list of all of them by area. Okay, so you'll be able to pull it up. And when you click on their link, it's supposed to take you to their contracting area, their contracting website, so you can register with them if you're interested in doing business with the city of LA, the county of LA, because they are a reciprocity partners. Then you click on there. Okay. I'm going to move on to the next one because we're pretty close to the end. So, but I'm going to talk about the SVDVB emergency registry, which is separate from Cali Procure. And the reason why, I think one of the bigger reasons why it was created, because during COVID, there were millions and millions. Actually, I think there were a few $1 billion that were spent in emergency contracts, and a lot of them were not awarded to small businesses because we were desperate to get what we needed, right? It was unprecedented times. And so to make it easier on buyers to find small certified businesses, because it's only for certified businesses, okay? Only certified businesses can register in the emergency registry. So to make it easier on buyers to find certified businesses that can provide whatever it is at a moment's notice. So if you are not ready and able to provide whatever it is that you sign up for in there, please don't register in there. I always use this example. You wouldn't want an untrained fireman to go to put out the fire in your house. Yeah. So only if you're able and ready should you register here. Okay, it does, it will only list, it is only a list of certified businesses. Like I said, it is used by state buyers in to look for businesses that are certified when there is an emergency in the state. And it could be something like a broken pipe in a state hospital, a flood, a fire, an earthquake. I don't know. There's many emergencies, right? That maybe people wouldn't consider it, but a gas leak on a kitchen that's owned by the state, I don't know, in the prisons or something. Whatever it is, that's an emergency, right? So it does have predetermined categories of goods and services. You'll see the list, which is right here. I'm not going to go over all of them. You can kind of look, right? Base camp operations. A person who rented chairs, tables, and shades, right, for parties, he actually got a contract because he was registered one time that there was one of the fires a few years ago in LA. Crazy as it sounds, believe it or not, he only used to, rent his products, or yeah, his products, I guess, for parties and that kind of stuff. But he registered with us. He got a contract with the during one of the fires in LA. So, it's just an idea so you can see that sometimes it's things that you couldn't even think of. But what you'll need to register in the emergency registry is your certification number, the emergency categories that you fall under, a super detailed, listen to this, super detailed description of your products and services. If you sell equipment for clearing roads and stuff, please tell me what kind of trucks you have, the tonnage, the capacity, whatever it is. If you have, those water trucks, whatever it is, please be super detailed. We don't want, the purpose of this is for buyers to quickly find you. And if you don't have a very detailed description, then it beats the purpose, to be honest. So please, super, super descriptive, okay? You'll need your business address and, of course, your contact information, primary and after hours. Because if they call you, if they need something at 4 o'clock in the morning, Emergencies don't wait, right? They need to be able to get a hold of your company, someone, right, to provide that stuff at 4 o'clock in the morning. All right. So how do you find that? You click on Sell to the State, and then you click on SVDVE Emergency Registry, and that will get you to the page where it talks about all the information about the emergency registry, and it will have a link so you can click on it to register and get the into the emergency registry. Are there any questions at this point? We're almost at the end.
Yes, one last question. So does California accept other certifications or is there reciprocity?
That seems like two questions. So we only have the three certifications, the small business for the purpose of public works, and the disabled veteran business enterprise. The other ones we do not accept. It's only the ones that we certify for. And then
Okay.
the second one was something about reciprocity partners,
Yes.
or were they thinking that it was a reciprocal kind of thing about the certification?
Yeah, no, I think you answered it already. I think the main question was whether you accept any other certifications.
Yeah, no. But if you have them, you're welcome. Like I said, I gave you that part where I talked about the part where you can put them because you never know if a prime is looking for the other certifications that you have, and you might be doing business with them.
All right. And there's another question that came in. It said, is there a resource to facilitate subcontractors finding teaming opportunities with primes on some specific bids?
Is there some kind of resource?
Yeah, so is there a way or do you recommend, do you have any resources to facilitate subcontractors finding teaming opportunities with primes?
So one of my suggestions, we don't have any resources per se, but one of my suggestions that I do, how I was talking about the event contract, the package, and I showed you the mandatory and non-mandatory conferences. That's a really good way for you to network with prospective employers, right? Because if you're working as a sub, the prime would be your employer, not the state. Just want to clarify that. But a good way for you is to look for contracts that are kind of in the area, like if you're in construction, right? But you do a part of the construction. We know that a lot of the times that as part of the stuff is subcontracted out, right? If you're a plumber, they might need you for a building that they're creating or that they're building. So going to those the walkthroughs, right? Where they're going to talk about what they need done, and you might need your the prime that can employ you in the future. So that would be one way. So look through the through contracts, even if they're big for you. Look for contracts that are kind of in that they're in the realm of your work and put ads in there that you're looking for a prime. Go to the meets so that you can meet people, network in when Pace holds big events where there is exhibit tables and you can talk to primes and we also go to events. You can look at events in Caliber Care. If you click on Find Training and Resources and scroll all the way down, you can find in-person events. That's a really good way to network with primes and other state departments. So,
Great, thank you. And that's it. No questions. Yeah, no questions for now.
okay. All right. So the last part is the commercially useful function, which is, you know, you have to perform it when you're in business with the state. Even if you're bidding, it starts there. Um, you must execute a distinct element of the work. You are performing it, managing it, you're supervising the work. Um, you're performing work that is normal to the firm's business services and functions. I do find some weird things on sometimes on people's profiles, and I'm like, huh? You're doing this, but you're doing this. It doesn't even make sense. So make sure that it makes sense what you're doing. But then again, I'm not in your business, so it might have a correlation, and I don't think it does, right? But anyways, continuing with Cuff, negotiating the price. You as the owner are negotiating the price, determining quality, quantity, ordering, installing, and making payment. Doesn't mean that you as the owner is doing everything, but you know what is being done in your company. If you have somebody doing that stuff, it's still your small. You're controlling that, right? Also, you're not subcontracting a portion of the work greater than expected by industry practices. Like I said, in construction, it is very normal to subcontract part of the work, right? Now, you're not performing cuff if you are being used as a pass-through to obtain the appearance of, SVDBB participation. So you get the contract, but you give it to your cousin or your uncle, and the uncle or cousin actually, or your friend actually does all the work, right? That's not okay. If you're not being used to perform the work as stipulated in the bid, then you must report it. If you are no longer used to provide the goods and services listed in the initial bid, then you have to report it. There is a way for you to report it right here. Okay, you can let us know. Anyone at DJS will get it to the right area, but it's I can't think of the email. Ugh. There is an email, and I can send it to Christina once I think about it. That where you can report this kind of stuff. Okay, because it could even be punishable financially. You could be um, you know prohibited from doing work with the state for a while or forever. So it just depends, right? um, so you don't want to do it. You really want to, if you signed up to do a contract, just do what it says on the contract that you're going to do. That's the bottom line. Be honest. All right. There are resources that you can utilize free of charge, like the Small Business Development Centers, the Apex Accelerators, SCORE, and of course PACE. They offer a lot of the same resources that the other three offer. So Christina, if you want to expand on this, that's fine.
Yes, no, no, this is perfect. Yes, and as Teresa had mentioned, PACE will able to help you with capability statement and then certifications, and then the things that we can't answer, we'll hand it back to Teresa and her team, and then also looking through proposals and such. So these are some of the services that we offer through PACE.
Yeah, which we cannot do. We cannot help you with proposals, bidding. We cannot help you with that. So see, PACE would be the place to go,
Yeah,
especially if you're
thank
new
you.
to the state. All right, so we are pretty much at the end. We went over Cali Procure, updating your Cali Procure profiles, the keywords in UNSPSC, how to add those. We went over how to look for contract opportunities and really important dates within, right? Each of the contracts that you really need to pay attention to. And then I showed you how to do research and past purchases in Skippers. And then from there, know which advocates of the state to send emails, because you know that their department has purchased what you sell, right? And then I also talked about reciprocity partners, and how they can also be prospective customers, and the emergency contracting. And the last thing was, of course, the commercially useful function. We do have LinkedIn, follow us there. We advertise, you know, um, things to help you, little tips and tricks, and the events that we participate in, and things like that. And sometimes even contracts, if another partner, State Department, asks us to advertise it, we sometimes post it in there too. If you need to schedule a one-on-one consultation with one of my colleagues or myself, you can choose from the four options. You scan this QR code with your phone, it will come up. You can choose any of them. If you're already certified, don't choose the second one. But it doesn't matter if you choose the number one or the other two options. because I always ask, how can I help you? And you can just let us know. Well, I signed up for this, but really I'm looking for, you know, and then we let the conversation flow from there. And we can definitely help you. And if we don't know the answer, we can always try to hit somebody else with the question and hopefully get an answer. Um, so this is pretty much. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. I hope that it was useful. If you have any questions, again, my name is Teresa Macias Ruiz, and my email address is just teresa.maciasruiz@dgs.ca.gov. And you can just send me an email and I will get back to you. I will be traveling pretty much every week. I'm going to LA tomorrow. So every week I'm going to be traveling. But like I said, that's why email is really good. Thank you so much. Christina?
Yeah, well, yeah, thank you so much, Teresa. And that concludes the three-part series that we have with the Department of General Services. So for those of you who had missed the last two, there was a question about the recording. We will send the recording out. We will send out the link to the e-library, which has all the recordings, not just from these series, but also all the other procurement series that we have done. And then we also will send out slides with a follow-up email that we'll be sending out after this webinar. And so let me just put in my information. So for those of you who have any questions, let me just, there you go. Let me put my information. There you go. So if you are, yeah, so if you need to reach Pace, you can just go and either email me or leave me a text. But that concludes our three-part series. So thank you so much, Teresa. As I mentioned, just look out for the follow-up email that we'll be sending out in the next couple days. Again, thank you so much for being with us. And we'll, yeah, if you have any questions, you have Teresa's number in mind as well. So